I got a
Never.
Oh. Oh. What has happened here? What has happened here? What has happened? This is what happens when you don't stream for quite a while. Nothing works. But my camera was just working. Let's get this camera working again. Hello! I am back. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. That was very, very strange. Don't know why that source did not work. Hey, Retro Gamer, welcome to the chat. Lovely to have you here. My stream is literally Zenexian, 51 months. 51 months subscribed. That's insane. And here we are. Here we are. Welcome. Thank you so much for resubscribing. If you're not following Zenexian, please do. Wonderful, wonderful person to go follow. But yeah, welcome to the chat. My stream is The Dark Knight. It really literally was. Like, literally, you could hear me, but you couldn't see me. But here I am. Here I am. There's been a few changes. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. Still can't see me. Yes, you can. It's been a hot minute since I last streamed. It's been insane. I think it was like January. I streamed. I think it was around January because I got my new Mac, the Mac Mini, and which has been amazing, by the way. Still, like, genuinely worth every penny. It's showing as both live and also offline for me somehow. I have no idea. I'm watching this on. I can see my view on Twitch seems to be fine, but who knows? YouTube doesn't look like it's playing. Oh no, wait, here we go. No, YouTube looks like it's playing fine. Twitch is like. Oh no, there we go. I don't know. Twitch is being weird. That's so weird. But YouTube is definitely working. So if you're on YouTube, you should see me dancing around on there. Let's have a look at the old Twitch. I'm gonna look at my old stream on here as if I'm a random person. And oh, look at that, because I'm not a subscriber to my old channel. Twitch is weird. Yeah, this is the thing. Everything in the last few months since I last streamed, loads of stuff has happened on Twitch that they've changed stuff. Apparently, there's something about like people get monetized from like day one or something like that now. So that's like weird. I can't remember. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of like half reading it. I'm not really following Twitch anymore. As I say, I haven't been subscribed. I haven't been doing a lot on here recently. There's been a lot of big changes recently with me and where I'm going, like what I'm doing, what I'm doing creatively with my life, like accepting some stuff and making some changes. Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one. So for example, like I haven't been streaming as much as I used to because I don't have time for it, to be honest with you. I'm here, I've managed to make it tonight, but like I genuinely don't have a lot of time for streaming anymore. And it's not because I'm working live. I'm not doing live gigs either right now. And I don't think that's something that's going to change. The last live gig I did was in Birmingham, where I did Star Trek versus Star Wars at the old Joint Stock, and it went very well. It was a lovely wee gig. Really enjoyed it. And so since then, I haven't actually done any other live work. I haven't done any other stand-up. And I have applied to do the Fringe this year, and I've got a venue, and tickets should be going on sales hopefully at some point, so I'll let you all know. I don't know why I'm still. Is it literally? If you go onto YouTube, you'll see me there. I'm on live on YouTube as well, and like I'm actually looking at my stream manager there, and I can see what you mean. Like it's not working on Twitch, but it's definitely working on YouTube. So maybe we kill the Twitch stream. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is Twitch being like, kill it, just kill it, let it die, let it die. How is it somehow like showing me both online and offline? I wonder if what happens. How weird. Also, it's showing that I'm playing Fallout 4, which is patently not true. Right, here we go. Right, there we go. We've killed Twitch. Ooh. We're gonna try and fix. We're gonna try and save Twitch, but I think it might be the time to give up. And it was have 10 million points. Right, let's save that. Let's try this again. Oh, I'm offline on YouTube now as well. Okay. Okay, let's see if this works now. Sending data. I might be going back online on. Right, here we go. We're streaming back on Twitch again. Let's see what's happening. This is professional, people. I'm a professional. If nothing but, I am a professional. Chef Samros is subscribed again. But again, I don't think you're seeing anything over on Twitch. Can you hear me over on Twitch? Can you hear me over on Twitch? That's the main thing. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, weird. But you can hear me, but you can't see me. So bizarre. Come over to YouTube. It's working on YouTube. I'm gonna kill the stream on Twitch because it's not working. Let me. Oh, not getting anything. What the hell? Let's come to YouTube. It works over here. There we go. I've sent a message over there. Come over to YouTube. The stream is working fine. It's working perfectly fine over on YouTube. Why it's not working on Twitch, I do not know. So we are going to kill the Twitch stream, and that may be it for Twitch. By the way, that might be it for Twitch. Like Twitch, if it's not working, if it's like offline, why is it offline? So bizarre. But if it's offline over on Twitch, yeah, hey, so it's I Zenexian, I've been here for ages. This is working perfectly fine. Welcome over, by the way. I'm killing the Twitch stream. YouTube is perfectly fine. Yeah, yep. YouTube is proving to be much better. And I never thought I'd say that. So yeah, YouTube's working fine. If you're watching, hello, welcome. No idea why Twitch is not working. I may have to troubleshoot that a wee bit later on and find out what's going on there. But for now, we are going to stick to YouTube. I've killed the stream on Twitch right now. What a weird thing. Zenexian, do you fancy while you're there, like if you are there, do you fancy popping into the Discord and just announcing that we're on YouTube only, just so people can sort of, you know, if they did, you know, because you know the announcement goes out and goes, hey, he's live streaming on Twitch, and obviously no, I'm not, because Twitch is sucking right now. But yeah, here we are. We're on YouTube. Chef Samros, it was lovely to meet you in person, by the way, and I was streaming when you're out. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even plan on streaming tonight. I was like, I just like happened to have like so like right. So let me paint a picture for you right now. For the last few months, one of the reasons I've not been streaming as much is because quite frankly, I've been too busy. And generally, it's mostly life stuff. So obviously, we got the wee one now. So we got my older boy, who's like 3.5. No, oh God, he's almost 4. He's turning 4 in June, and then we've got now we've got like 5 months old, and they're both amazing, but a lot of work. So very, very tired all the time. Lots of housework getting done. But basically, like we do, like I go through a day, do my day job. Then we have dinner together. And then me and I know, right? I know, Samros, best time. And then like in the evenings, Mrs. C and I try to have a wee bit of time together. So we'll like watch like a film, or we'll watch like a mainly TV show, Severance, by the way. Oh, season 2 Severance, so good. But we'll watch like a TV show or something together. It's a couple of episodes. Try to have a wee bit of time together. Then she'll go up early to bed with the weeest one, and then I then spend the rest of the time tidying, sort of doing all the housework. So like kitchen, laundry, all that type of stuff, and then that doesn't tend to get done until like, you know, usually around nowish, maybe a bit later. Yeah, maybe a bit later, about 10:30, 11. I'm done, and then. What I'll do is I'll maybe spend like half an hour writing scripts for YouTube videos. So, because as you've probably noticed, I've been doing a bit of YouTube content recently. If you look at the Mac page of apple.com, there's a Severance Easter egg. Is there really? Let's have a look. Right. Okay. Tell you what. Hey, Ed Edisman, welcome to the chat. Love it to have you here. Okay, I'm on the website. Here we go. There's a Severance. If you look at the Mac page of apple.com, there's a Severance Easter egg. Okay, let's go to the Mac page. Okay, if you can dream it, Mac can do it. Ah, Lumen Terminal Pro. Look at this. This is awesome. Oh, wow. Greetings, we are pleased to bring you a film detailing the art of arranging moving images to elicit an emotional response. If during this viewing you experience feelings of warmth and increased heart rate of perspiration, do not be alarmed. In fact, rejoice as you have been successfully inspired. Praise Kier. No way. That's so cool. That's very cool. That's very, very cool. But yeah. Very much enjoying. I've seen actually, apparently there's a Lumen terminal interface you can use online. Let's see if we can find it. Is this it? I think this might be it. I'm not gonna play the video because I don't want. Look, here it is. Ah, here you go. Macro data refinement at its finest here. We could do some macro data refinement on the stream, but that's not what we're here for. What if I... Oh my god, how does it work? 3. Is there like a way to do this? This is cool. This is cool. I'll be honest with you. This might end up being the stream. It doesn't let me do anything. So there's loads of them actually. Oh, here we go. Here's another one. Ooh. This one tells you if you're doing... Nope. How do I do it? Apparently, I'm not doing any of it right. Anyway, we're not here for macro data refinement. Not while we're here. So, why are we here? So, essentially, as I said, focus has changed. My last live gig was Star Trek versus Star Wars in Birmingham, which was a lot of fun. Long story short, I posted it on my Facebook public page and I shared it on my personal page as well. I quit stand-up comedy. Given up. I've quit. I've moved on. I say I quit. I say I quit. I gave up. Sounds negative. I've moved on. I've closed it. I've like I wasn't enjoying it anymore. Like the truth be told is that since 2019, so right, okay, it I had like a really good run at comedy. I did like comedy. I had been doing comedy up until this year. So like 16 years I've been doing comedy. And it pretty much gone pretty well up until about 2019. And 2019 was when I got married. And when I came back from our honeymoon, I filmed my on TV. I filmed the BBC Comedy Underground bit, which was amazing. Like, really great experience. Really grateful that I got to do it. But my live work started, like, basically the agency that I was with. So I had an agent, and she was amazing. Like, got me places that I'd never got to before. But she had a change of career. She was basically looking for a change of career. Comedy wasn't working for her either. So she wasn't like making a huge amount of money at the time with it, and it was getting harder and harder. And so she was looking to move on, and she sold the agency to someone else. And in the time that they sort of took over, 6 months I was with them totally. I didn't get any new bookings in my diary. Any new gigs that I got were ones that I had found myself. They weren't very well paid. And basically my work started drying up a wee bit. And I said to myself, like, 2020, I had a gig booked in with the Frog and Bucket in Manchester. And I said to myself, like, basically, I'm going to do this gig January 2020. I'm going to do this gig, and then I'm going to take a 6-month break. And then I'm going to come back and do comedy and come back stronger. Like, that'll be fine. 6 months break, take stock, come back. So, yeah. Part of that was like, a month later, I was flying out to the Philippines to celebrate my 1-year wedding anniversary with Mrs. C. So it was like, yeah, you know what? 6-month break sounds like a good idea. 6 months break, 2020. Think about it logically. Think what happened. So we flew out of the Philippines, had an amazing sort of 1-year anniversary, came back, and lockdown happened. And so basically I had no choice but to not gig. So my idea of having a 6-month break was enforced anyway, and actually ended up being a lot longer than 6 months. I did try a couple of like Zoom gigs, and I just hated it. Absolutely hated it. It just didn't work for me. But it's when I got into streaming, and it's like, because like trying to do comedy, stand-up comedy like this is really, really hard. And we're doing it over Zoom, so in theory you heard people laugh, but like imagine it's like really, really broken laughter because you're not really hearing anybody. And it's just a very, very, very strange situation. I just realized my music's been very, very intermittent. Let's find out what's going on there. Okay. Server interruption. Ignore. Okay. So yeah, essentially I said I'd do a 6-month break, and it was kind of enforced on me because of COVID. I didn't enjoy doing the stuff that was other people were doing. Like, fair play to the people who made it work. I just couldn't make it work. Got into streaming, which was a lot of fun. And then as things started opening up again, I started sort of dipping my toe. But at the same time as I started dipping into my toe back into it, it's when my first child was born as well. And so like I found it harder to sort of commit myself to being out of the house in the evenings, because I wanted to be there for my family. I wanted to make sure that my wife was taken care of and all that type of stuff, because that's important. So yeah, I definitely lost a wee bit of the drive on that. And then my music's not working, so we're going to do something a wee bit different tonight. I have a subscription to some royalty-free music. So yeah, I did a little bit of everything like that, and then end of 2021 as well. We got an opportunity to move back to Scotland, which was lovely, getting a chance to move back to Scotland. because it was always on the cards that one day we would move back. Like that was something that we always wanted to do. Ooh, that music. Oh, that music. What is this all about? What is this? What is this? What have I put on? I put on happy music and this is what I get. No, no. Where's my lo-fi? Where's my laid back? Let's do my laid back. Here you go. Here we go. So 2021, opportunity to move back to Scotland, took it, moved back, and it made it even harder to start again because I've been out of Scotland and away from the Scottish circuit for, 10 years. No, not 10 years, but like 8 years by the time I moved back or something like that. Wait, 2021. Oh, wait, no, wait, 4 years. So 7 years I've been away. People didn't know who I was anymore. The circuit had changed. But not only that, people who did know me, they hadn't seen me in years. They didn't know that like down south, I was like an MC and I was opening at certain clubs and I was at a certain level. I wasn't like amazing, but I was doing all right, But I kind of like, because of the length of time that I'd not been gigging and the fact that I wasn't getting that regular work, meant I had to like start again up here. And I was like, literally, I've like for the last couple of years, I think I've only had 2, maybe 3 paid gigs over this time. And a lot of my work, a lot of the gigs that I've been doing have been unpaid open mics, Red Raw at the Stand and stuff like that. And like they've not been going anywhere, but like they've not been going anywhere for a couple of reasons. I've not been putting my heart into it. Like I've not been writing a whole bunch of new material like I used to. Not really been enjoying it. I've been trying new stuff, but it's not been paying off. And I'm more focused on my family and also more focused on all the nerdy stuff. Like, so one of the things that did happen when I came back up here is I got into convention hosting more than I ever did down south, which was really cool. So I'm now like a regular host at what used to be ACM Econ. It's now Fan Frontier now run sort of the major Comic Cons up here. So I've just done in March, I did PowerCon and that was at the SEC. Awesome. It's a gaming convention. And just met some lovely people on there. In this April, sorry, I'm doing their RyCon, which is their anime. Oh, I think it's called RyCon, but I'm doing their anime con. So I'll be hosting panels there. And I've met some brilliant people through doing the con hosting. I've enjoyed doing Star Trek versus Star Wars live again. I've got my kids show Marvel versus DC, and I've really enjoyed doing them, and I still enjoy doing them. And then like the other thing that's been happening is like I've been enjoying creating content on YouTube. And I don't know if you've watched the YouTube videos that I've done on there, but they've been doing relatively well. Like especially seem to have fallen into sort of the more Star Trek stuff. So if I just pop onto here, let's have a look. Where have you gone? Where have you gone? This music, by the way, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Are you feeling it? I'm feeling it. Gaming. There we go. Right. Cool. So, this is what I've been doing recently, and like the latest, as you can see, the last few videos, I started back in sort of here with my this is a sort of vlog. I thought maybe I'll do some vlogging videos. I tried some life vlogs and I did a couple of them and they were okay. They went fine. Then I did a couple of ranking videos. So before that I had done sort of MCU ranking and Star Trek ranking, and they got higher reviews. And then I was like, well, do you know what? I'm going to try doing like a video essay type video, something a little bit longer. So I did this almost 10-minute video of to those who think Star Trek has gone woke. So it's kind of like it was a thing that I'd come up with. Basically I'm sick of people going like, oh, it's gone woke, when like it's always been woke. And it's just that they're using that the definition of woke that's been hijacked by right-wing media as opposed to what woke actually means. And then they try to claim that whatever. I've been called a shill because of this video, which is really cool, but like also like, if I'm a shill, it'd be nice if they paid me. Like, I pay me. That's what shills are supposed to be paid. So anyway, I did this video and it got I'm sitting on 4.2k views, which is the second highest viewing I've ever had. Which was pretty incredible. I followed it up with a response video to it, which still got like 388 views at this point in time, which is still like pretty high. It's more than I experienced. So I was like, do you know what? I think maybe Star Trek content is where I've done. My last vlog video, which was 3 weeks ago, was just at the PowerCon, and it's still not even hit 100 views. And the vlog style stuff hasn't ever hit high views. I think I might still do the vlogging stuff because it's quite nice to sort of have that connection. Maybe some people want to hear sort of my thoughts on in a different way. Like I don't know. Like we'll see if you're interested. I don't know if I'll do the filming that level that I did with them, because trying to sort of do the fancy cinematography is hard work. It's hard work to plan and do. But then I did this video here, 5 pieces of Star Trek technology we have in real life. And this has been my most successful video of all time, right? It's the one that's pushed me to over, let's have a look at my, let me have a look at my numbers right now. Thanks to that video, I now have 702 subscribers on YouTube. And I'm getting closer to the sort of 3,000 hours public watch hours for that first step towards YouTube partnership. And so like for me, like this allows me to be creative doing these YouTube videos. And so I did a follow-up one which hasn't had as many views. It's a bit disappointing, but I've done, my next one was this one here, which is 5 most surprising Star Trek cameos. And yeah, it's a bit disappointing that this one hasn't received the same amount of attention, but we'll give it time. The great thing about like YouTube content is that sometimes like you can leave something for a couple of weeks and it just blows up. Like the one that's 13K, the tech one, that's still going. Like there's still people subscribing from it, watching it, commenting, everything like that, which is pretty cool. It's lovely. So I really I'm enjoying creating these videos. So like my whole thing now is basically I don't want to do live comedy anymore. I don't like live comedy anymore. I don't like the current state of stand-up comedy, specifically. I like comedy, and it's interesting because like someone commented on my post about it, and they were like, the thing about comedy is that you kind of have to niche down these days if you want to get an audience. And apparently people are jealous, or people are impressed with the way that I've niched into sort of the Star Trek, Star Wars content. Like this is my thing, the geeky content. I'm known as the geeky comedian. I'm known as the Star Trek comedian, which is pretty cool. But like, it's made me realize I don't want to do clubs anymore. I don't want to do the normal comedy clubs anymore. So my whole thing is I'm going to concentrate on doing Star Trek versus Star Wars live. My kids show Marvel versus DC, that'll be live. That'll be most of the extent of my live work will be doing those. I'm going to concentrate on convention hosting and trying to get some more, like, so it's great that I've got these ones up here in Scotland, but I want to try and get around a wee bit more to other locations for convention hosting. I'm going to continue making more YouTube content. So more Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, you know, all the geeky videos that you can have. Which is tonight, which is what I'm supposed to be doing. I've ended up waffling for like most of this so far, which is, you know, the whole point. As I'm going to be working on my next YouTube video right now. The way I say working on it, I'm going to do the rankings on the video now and just sort of air out some thoughts before I write a script, and then film it this week, and it'll be out by hopefully I'm going to aim for Thursday evening to have it out. I'm going to try and aim for Thursday evenings for videos to be released, because that seems to be when most people are watching YouTube videos on like my audience. So trying to capture that. So yeah, it's yeah, essentially. So live shows will be again more of the geeky stuff that I enjoy. Star Trek versus Star Wars. I may do my solo show again live. I don't know. I did enjoy it. I feel like it's been passed. I also feel like would like to film it to put it up on YouTube, so to release it as a special. And I think I want to focus on, like, if I do live stuff that's not my game shows, it would be storytelling that I would want to do more of. Like, just I love telling stories. So not necessarily comedy, but definitely storytelling. So I think it's storytelling with comedy, if that makes sense, like that type of thing. Funny stories, not necessarily stand-up comedy. And then the YouTube content is going to be there. So really doubling down on the geeky stuff, and yeah, the convention hosting, live streaming like this every so often. If I can get Twitch working again, that'd be nice. But you know, Twitch, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? So yeah, we're gonna look at that, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So like, I quit comedy, I quit stand-up comedy, but I haven't quit. Does that make sense? Like, I've quit, but I haven't quit. I am. This is what I do now. This is what I'm going to be doing, and this is what I'm going to continue doing. And it's great because by focusing on being like by doing stuff that I can do here in my own home, I don't have to worry about travel or stuff like that. And like, it's like, oh, I've got like 10 minutes. Let's go work on the script for 10 minutes. And then, you know, I can dedicate half an hour to filming very quickly. And the biggest job is editing. Editing is always the biggest job. There is one more thing, though. There is one more thing. So, long-time subscribers to the stuff that I do, whether it's on Twitch or whether on YouTube, will remember that there is something else that I used to do aside from streaming and comedy, and live gigs and stuff like that, and podcasting. I was a podcaster, and I had a podcast that I did for years. It ran from 2016, and it initially started as sort of me interviewing people. And it was called the Geekatorium, and it was about me, and I interviewed people about what their geeky passions were. And around 2020, I brought Matt Blair on board. So I'd done an episode of Matt. I'd met Matt a couple of times beforehand, and then I recorded this episode from him, and I got on so well with him. I love Matt to pieces. You know, we just got on like we've been friends forever, like our entire lives. And so I brought him on board, and I changed the format of the Geekatorium podcast to be sort of like a pop culture show. So like we'd watch stuff, play stuff, talk about it, and it was fun. And we ran it for years, in that format, and got through a lot of stuff. But again, it was that whole thing of life getting in the way, and it was an audio only podcast, I should say. So we would record So what used to happen is that we would record the podcast on a Saturday night, which would take maybe an hour to two. It would take about 2 hours for us to record the podcast. And then one of us would edit it on the Sunday night to try and get it out for the Monday morning. The thing is, if you talk for 2 hours, to edit the podcast well meant like we'd have like maybe an hour and 45 minutes of recording, right? And we always want to try and get that down to an hour. And you have to as well, because there's a lot of waffling. There's a lot of stuff. Those ums and ahs and all of that. So for a 2 hour recording session, you would maybe take 4 to 5, maybe 6 hours to edit it effectively. So it's essentially it's a full day of work to record and edit one episode of a podcast. So, but it was just getting harder and harder for Matt and I to sort of commit and do that. It was taken away from my family, from me, and Matt as well. He couldn't commit to it as well. So we stopped it. We stopped doing the podcast, and that was last year. I think it was 2 years ago we stopped it. But I missed it, you know. I missed the podcast. I miss talking to Matt. Like, actually, more than the podcast, I miss talking to Matt every week about stuff. Because we would just nerd out, and I really started missing it. So, not that long ago, I reached out to Matt and I said, "Would you want to do it again? Would you want to do the podcast again?" To which he just went, "Yes." Like, essentially, you had me at hello, type thing. So, we've decided to do the podcast again, but we didn't want to do it the way that we had done it because, quite frankly, the way that we had been doing it wasn't working for either of us, and we didn't want to be in a situation again where we burn out after a few months because of the amount of work that we put into it. So we want to make it as easy as possible for us to do the podcast. So what we're doing is the Geekatorium podcast will now be broadcast live on a Monday. So Monday evenings, generally starting around 9:30, we are going to be on here on YouTube, potentially Twitch as well if I can get it working. But we'll be live streaming it on YouTube for sure. The reason that we want to live stream it on YouTube mainly is because once it's been recorded on YouTube and broadcast on YouTube, it's there forever. It'll stay up there. So what we can do is that we can have the video up on YouTube for people to then go back and watch at their own time. We'll be able to very quickly and easily, we're going to have as few edits as possible in it. So I'll probably do this, like I'll do the sound cues live on as we're doing the show. But when I say sound cues, I mean like the music that we had and stuff like that. It means then that we can sort of just grab the audio from, like, I can download the YouTube video, rip the audio out, and then just, if we want to have an audio only version of the podcast, we can put that back up onto whatever platform we want to. I mean, the same platform that we had before. But what's really been crazy is I went back onto, I hadn't logged in for years, but I looked at our numbers and people still listen to the podcast on Spotify. And other sources as well. People are still listening to the podcast. They're going back and listening to old episodes, which is really, really cool. To know that people are still there. So we're going to bring it back. It's going to be a wee bit different. We're going to focus it a little bit more. I don't know if we'll do that. We haven't had a full discussion about how the format's going to look. I don't know if we'll bring back Sodium Stories and Fantastic Five. Personally, I would like to bring back Fantastic Five, but I don't know about Sodium. I'm on the fence about Sodium Stories. I will definitely be discussing sort of the latest episodes of stuff or movies that we've gone to see. And so that will still be the main part of the podcast. But you might find that when we're doing it live on here, it'll be a little bit more conversational. And it won't involve, like, so like the way that we'll probably do it is that we'll probably have like an hour to an hour of the show. And then maybe like half an hour at the end, which is us talking to you in the chat, if that makes sense. So that's how we're intending on doing the show. And well, that's how I see the show happening here on YouTube. But yeah, it'll go out every 2 weeks rather than every week. And if it works, like we've said to ourselves, if it works that way and it's not too much work, we may do it every week. But for now, we're going to do every 2 weeks. And it'll be a live show here on YouTube, which will be nice. It'll be lovely, won't it? It'll be lovely. I'm looking forward to it. I know Matt's looking forward to it. And I can give you a date. Of the first show. Let me just go back into my messages with Matt. The first show that we are going to be doing is going to be April 14th. April 14th is going to be the first Geekatorium back. So put it in your diaries, people. If you want to come and watch the live show, it'll be here. The next thing, the visual aspect of a streamed podcast recording is great for folks like me who can't focus on listening alone. Great. Well, I hope it helps. I hope it helps. And Yeah, so I'm personally very very excited for it. It's nice to get back into podcasting, and I'm gonna have hopefully this is what I'm gonna have. This is what I'm gonna have moving forward in my career. So stand up comedy, club stand up comedy, gone. Okay, and I say gone, like it's gone for now. There's no reason why in the future I might not come back to it. Like maybe when kids are older or whatever, I might dip my toe back into the club circuit. But for now, it's gone. Club circuit's not happening. So what is going to be happening is live shows are going to be either are going to be like Star Trek versus Star Wars, or my kids show Marvel versus DC. I'm going to concentrate on festivals and maybe touring Star Trek versus Star Wars at some point as well. That's going to be my live shows. Then YouTube content is going to be so YouTube, TikTok, that type of thing that's going to be the way. I don't know if you've watched my sketches as well on TikTok that I've been starting to do as well. So I'll be doing a combination of sketches and then sort of content based on like Star Trek, Star Wars, anything that I love. So that's going to be a lot of stuff. And then the podcast is going to be the sort of third thing in there as well. So there's quite a lot going on there, but I'm sorry, stage hosting. So those are going to be the things that I'm going to do, and those are the things that I love doing and I enjoy doing. And it's really weird because like I've loved doing stand up comedy for the longest time. But the day I turned around to myself, and it was only a couple of weeks ago, I turned around to myself and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can tell you the exact moment, like it actually twigged. I can tell you the exact moment it actually twigged that I just didn't want to do it anymore. And it wasn't even 2 weeks ago. It was a week ago. I was at Edinburgh Zoo with my family, and it was lovely. And we were so Edinburgh Zoo with my family. We went to see the giraffes. My oldest son, his favorite animal is a giraffe. He goes absolutely mad, and we'd run around the zoo going like, oh look, there's a zebra, oh look, there's a rhino, oh look, there's whatever. Get to the giraffes and he does not want to move. Like he's just planted himself down, he's looking at the giraffes, he's so happy, just pointing at them. Daddy, it's a giraffe, it's my favorite animal. And he doesn't want to leave the giraffes. So we're in there and someone waves at me, and I'm like, because I'm like, world of my own, I'm focusing on my family, someone waves at me, and it's someone else that I've known through comedy. This person has been heavily involved in the Edinburgh comedy scene through a couple of comedy clubs, and did stand up themselves. And he's a really nice guy. And we were talking. He turns around to me and he says, "Do you talk to anyone on the circuit still?" And I was like, "No. No, I don't." And he's like, "Do you miss it?" And he was already talking as if I didn't do stand up anymore. And I was like, he asked me that. And I just remember it's like in my head, it was just like, no, no, I don't miss doing stand up. Like, and it was just that moment, like, and he started talking about how like, the comedy club that they tried to run didn't do well. So they're focusing on podcasting and having a podcast studio in Edinburgh instead. And I was like, look, if you're doing podcasting, I'd love to be involved in that. Like, give me a shout. And it made me realize, like, when it's just like I kept thinking it over, like my response to "Do you miss it?" and "Do you miss it?" and and I didn't care. Like I was like, I'm done. I think I'm done. Like it was such a weird moment. I felt like this massive weight had been lifted off my shoulder. And I remember turning around to Mrs. C and I was like, hey, I think I'm done with comedy. I think I'm done with stand-up comedy. I mean, obviously, as I say, there's a whole bunch of other stuff I want to do, but I didn't want to do club work anymore. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And then she was happy because I think she knows that I've not been enjoying it much recently. So yeah, it was this weird situation where like a wee conversation, just one question just made me question everything and actually made me think about it and actually made me realize that trying to chase that dream that I used to have of being a stand-up comedian wasn't making me happy anymore. Like it was just I was doing it because do you know why I was doing it? I was doing it because I was too scared of not doing it. That's what it came down to. I all I had known for like 16 years was doing stand-up comedy. And it was like just like that's what I thought had to do. That's what I thought like my purpose was to do stand-up comedy and be a comedian. And I think like yeah, so basically I'd gotten so scared of not doing stand-up comedy that the possibility that not doing it might actually make me happy just wasn't a possibility in my head. And it wasn't until someone said, like, yeah, it's exactly Xanaxian. Sometimes a small thing to realize something big. It wasn't until someone asked me that small question, a small innocuous question, that I just went, oh yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do stand-up comedy anymore. And it's not important to me anymore. In the same way that it was. And also like, because like, yeah, stand-up comedy is just like one small part of a wider thing that you can do. And like that's the thing that I've discovered. It's like convention host, podcaster, streamer, and then entertainer, essentially. So like I'm not giving up on being creative. I'm giving up on chasing something that no longer brought me joy. I think as Zenexian put it earlier on, is Marie Kondo, let go of things that no longer bring you joy. That's the Marie Kondo way, which is incidentally why she doesn't actually do that anymore. She doesn't do the cleaning stuff anymore because it didn't bring her joy. So yeah, that's the current state of play. That's where I'm at. I'm looking forward to the future. Take it at my own pace. If it picks up and it does well, massive bonus. And that's the other thing as well. I'm not like when I started doing comedy, I was 20, oh my God, 27 when I started doing stand-up comedy. And, you know, late 20s, I had a wee bit more drive. Like, I was still, I wasn't like, I didn't have any major commitments in my life, it was, I think like I didn't have any major commitments in my life. I was in my last year because I went back to uni when I was 23. So I was a mature student. So 27, I was in my last year of university because it was 4 years. But I actually ended up doing 5 because I had to redo a year. But I didn't have any. So I was my last year of my uni studies, and I started doing stand-up comedy, and I had no sort of commitments. I came out, I didn't have like family, full-time job, anything like that. It was just me at uni going, hey, let's do some stand-up comedy, and then it just sort of didn't stop, and I kept going. And like I've had some incredible opportunities because of stand-up comedy. So like I've been on TV, like I said, 2019, I was on TV at BBC Comedy Underground. I've got the video of it. It's amazing. So what an amazing memory. I performed at so many different Edinburgh Fringes, receiving 4 and 5-star reviews for the shows that I've written. Incredible memory. I've got there's people that I talk to who on a regular basis or on a semi-regular basis who recognize me, who know me, who are people that I admired as comedians before I even started, like of Lucy Porter, Reg D. Hunter. They are people who are like, I'm friendly with, and it's like, it's incredible. I've made so many different friends through stand-up comedy as well, which has been absolutely lovely. And the biggest one of all, the biggest one of all. So 10 years ago, I flew out to Australia to do the Adelaide Fringe Festival. And I was paid to be there. I was working for the Laughing Horse and comedy promoters, and it was an incredible opportunity. So I was gigging 3 times a day while I was out there for them. But they were paying me, my accommodation was paid for, and I got to go to Australia for the first time. And I met a friend for life, Matty Gray. I met him while I was out there, and I helped him with his kids show. And then I got to do my own solo show while I was out there as well. I did, and didn't go quite as well, but I got the opportunity to do it in Australia, which is cool. But one night, I did these 2 showcase shows in a venue called the Belgian Beer Cafe in Adelaide. And if you go to Adelaide's a mad place, right? Because Adelaide, there's not a lot there, right? The rest of the year. And basically, they decide to have all of their cultural events in February, March. That's it. Everything that's cultural has to happen in that time. So you've got like the Adelaide Fringe Festival, the Adelaide Arts Festival, music. There's a couple of, I think there's like 2 or 3 music festivals that happen at time. Book festivals. Every festival happens in that wee window. They also have, weirdly enough, a motorsports event that happens at the same time as well. So you're doing these you've got these artsy types performing their shows, and then one weekend, all of these like bogans descend on the town. So bogans are like redneck chav types. They descend on Adelaide to watch motor racing. And so you'll have like a lovely, lovely fringe. And then one night or 2 nights, you'll have all the roughest audiences you'll ever experience come to see your show, because they've seen the motorsport during the day. They've been drinking all day, and then they go, hey, let's go watch some comedy. So I had some really interesting experiences while I was doing that. But I'll always remember, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me because of comedy. Greatest thing that ever happened to me because of comedy. On the 6th of March, I was doing the late night show. It was an 11 p.m. show in the Belgian Beer Cafe. And it was going pretty well, even though the audience was tiny. There was only about 9 people in the audience. So I was emceeing it. I got to speak to everyone. And I'd bring the acts on, and then it was fun. And then we sort of got to the end of the show and sort of went to the back of the room, and one of the audience members was waiting there. And she turned around to me and she said, I've seen you before. And I was like, yes, you have. You came to see my, and I was like, I recognized her because the year, I think 2 years previously or a year previously, she'd come to see my show in Edinburgh, and she'd sat in the front row, and I remembered her. Really distinctly remembered her. And so that night, she sort of hung around with us, the comedians, and we were like, hey, why don't you come for a drink with us, have a chat? So we went to a drink. And then I was like, let's keep drinking. And there was one other comedian and her left over. And they were like, let's keep going. So we went to a casino. I got us chucked out the casino because I got very drunk and didn't understand the concept that in Australia, you can't, in certain places in Australia, I think most places, you cannot order more than 2 drinks. You can only have 2 drinks you can do. And it was really weird. And I got very argumentative of it and accused them of being racist because I was Scottish. Really weird situation. So we got chucked out of this casino, and it was really, really late. And then like that night, like we said, I'd say like, let's see you again. Well, I'll see you again. And 10 years later, we are married and have 2 wonderful children. So yeah, I mean, like, of all the opportunities that comedy has ever given me, the family that I have right now is all thanks to that. So I will forever be grateful for what stand-up gave me, because stand-up got me to this position. And I'm probably in the happiest place that I've ever been. Especially with the realization that I can do whatever the fuck I want now. Like, it's great. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So it's, yeah, let's what are we going to do tonight? as I say, I've ended up waffling for an hour. 15 minutes of that was trying to work out why Twitch wasn't working, but we've ditched Twitch and now we're here. So what I was going to do tonight is sort of semi-work on the next video that I'm doing. Is the next video I'm doing this week, it's going to be released this week, is I'm going to be ranking the MCU TV shows, specifically the MCU, not the MCU, the Star Wars live action TV shows. So I did something similar with Marvel, the MCU TV shows. I've also done the Star Trek movies, and I thought I'd do this with the MCU ones. This is interesting though. This is done it by all seasons, and I think I might do that because The Mandalorian is the only multi-series show so far. Well, with the exception of Andor is going to be coming out. And this is one of the reasons I'm doing this is because Andor season 2 is coming out. The Mandalorian is the only multi-series season show. And yeah, it's wildly different from season to season in terms of quality. So like where I'd put those shows are very, very different, I think. Like, so for example, season 1 of The Mandalorian, without a doubt, is like S tier, right? Because it came along, spaghetti Western style, individual stories each episode, with a story that built in the background. Everything serving, everything could be, you could watch any episode individually, but also it all serves the story. It's so well written, it's so well done. And ideally, The Mandalorian should have been like the main thing that Star Wars in its current state should have been doing, which is like all these standalone stories that don't, like, not everything has to lead back to the Skywalkers. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, not everything has to be special people and stuff like that. So I'm very much like, okay, Mandalorian, we're all good there. I think that's S tier. Mandalorian season 2 it's great for the ending. Like, it's really great for the ending. The final scene with Luke Skywalker returning. But aside from that, I don't think it's as good as season 1. So I think I put it in the A tier. So that, you know, it's fine. And this is the thing, it's like once you get past that first season of The Mandalorian, it just starts. Now, we then move on to the Book of Boba Fett, and this is off. Like, oh, it's so annoying because, like, Book of Boba Fett should be better than it actually is. Like, Book of Boba Fett. Oh, music's not playing. I just realized I put this music on and you're not hearing it. Here you go. Have some music. This is what I'm listening to right now. It's been very, very... I'll put it back to the beginning of the playlist. The Book of Boba Fett, the first bit of it, where it was all the... him living amongst the I don't want I'm gonna say the sand people. I hate to say it, but I hate it. Name it totally escapes my head right now. If they had done an entire season on that would have been quite cool. I would have liked that, but instead they did this whole thing where he takes over he tries to fill the power vacuum from the death of Jabba the Hutt, and it just doesn't quite work for me after that. It could work, but it doesn't feel earned, if that makes sense. It feels like they're trying to do something with him. It feels like they're trying to do something with Boba Fett without really thinking about it. Because the problem is they've made The Mandalorian, which is what everybody wanted a Boba Fett show to be. So now they had to try and do something different with Boba Fett. And they did that. and on the surface, maybe it should have worked, but it didn't quite work. And like, I don't know. It is the worst of the live action series, so it would go into the D. Jack, if you like Star Trek, you could do reaction to the Voyager series. Not anyone else is. I'll only see you on YouTube. Have a good evening wherever you are. Thank you, Jack. Oh, I could do a reaction. I'd listen to the Delta Flyers podcast for a start. That's Robert Duncan McNeil and Garrett Wang talking through every episode of Voyager, reacting to it. Now, it's fantastic. But I would happily do a reaction to Voyager. I'll do a rewatch. I can do a rewatch and tell you what I think of Voyager. I've got thoughts on Voyager. I have so many thoughts on Voyager. I remember when Voyager was announced, and like I was oh god, how old is that? Because I remember it was announced for like the 30th basically. So I was 14 when it was announced, and 13, 14, and yeah, it came out, and I watched it as it was released. So I was watching it when it was getting released on TV, and I watched every episode. And I could give you thoughts. I can give you thoughts on that. That's it. I'm gonna put that down as a video that I will do. I will do but I'll do it as a longer reaction video. It might be one of my It might be a longer one. Okay. Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I like this series. I actually think it's pretty okay. I think its biggest flaws are it repeats the same story 3 times. Like Princess Leia gets kidnapped 3 times, and they have to do the same thing again and again and again. And then they smuggle her out the Imperial base in the dumbest way possible. Like, seriously, hiding her under a long jacket is like so stupid. It was just too stupid to actually be good. It actually took away from it. Like, and especially because like, if it was a comedy, it would totally work, but it's not supposed to be a comedy. It's supposed to be serious. However, we did get the fight scene between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, and on one hand, very cool sequence, very cool fight. I do wish they hadn't met. Well, actually, I wish 2 things. One, if they had met and they'd done the fight, I'm angry that they didn't write the line, "Now I have the high ground," as Darth Vader was standing over Obi-Wan. Like, why? Like, that was such an open goal of a line to write in. But at the same time, I also wish that they hadn't met as characters in that. I wish it had always been just a slow chase and they never quite got each other. Because the whole thing was them meeting in episode 4 on the Death Star was them meeting after the fight on Mustafar. So, like, it kind of like wasn't great, and it did feel like it was it was supposed to be a movie, but they then repurposed it as a TV show, and you feel it, like it feels like a movie that's been padded out. So for me, it's not terrible, but it's not great. I'm gonna stick it. I think I'm gonna stick it in the B tier, actually. I think I'm gonna stick it in the B tier. Like, it's right in the middle there. I think it's mid. So that's where we're gonna go with that one. See, all this is doing, this is helping me think about like my scripts, basically. Like, by doing this right now, it's gonna help me with my script later on. And also I've got this set in stone for me to record it later. Okay, Andor season 1 is like, it's so slow. It's so slow. It took me a couple of attempts to get into it. I remember the first time I watched the first couple of episodes, I was like, I can't do this. It's so slow. Nothing's happening. And then I did it again. Like, someone was like, you have to watch it. Watch it all. And it had all come out. So as soon as it had all came out, I binged it. And it just blew my mind. It's so good. Like, it's such a slow build, but it's so worth it. I'm gonna have to do a rewatch before the second season comes out. But like the escape from the prison, and just that line of like, I can't swim, like, oh, wonderful moments all the way through that show. And it's just one of these ones that is just, it's absolutely worth watching. It's hard to get started, but once you get into it, it is phenomenal. And I'm actually going to stick it in. I'm going to stick it into the S tier because I think it is one of the best things. Like, it's the same way that I think like Rogue One is like one of the best things that Star Wars has done since, well, the original trilogy. I think Andor might be that on that level as well. So yeah, it's in the S tier. Mandalorian season 3 is. The problem with Mandalorian season 3, and it's the problem with Boba Fett as well, because Boba Fett essentially was Mandalorian season 2.5, and it served as a way to bring Grogu back to Din Djarin. And I was like, just let Grogu go. Let Grogu go. Let Grogu be a Jedi. Like, let's do that. Let's do that. But instead, I think, like, for me, this is further evidence that the people running Star Wars for Disney are reactionary to fans rather than concentrating on writing great stories. It's the thing that Henry Ford said, is that if he ever asked someone what they would like, they would say a faster horse. So they wouldn't say a car, they'd say a faster horse. And The Mandalorian felt like that. It's like, it felt like, well, I think the fans want Grogu and Din Djarin to be together, so we can't separate them. They have to be back together. But why? Why? Like, Grogu... So throughout this season, Grogu felt like a completely superfluous character, and it felt really forced that he was there. And then, of course, it wasn't the Mandalorian at this point. Then it became the Mandalorians. So like the focus wasn't entirely on Din Djarin, which is fine. But the thing is, it was a completely different show, and I just think like it wasn't great. But again, it wasn't terrible. So I'm gonna stick it in the B tier. It was an annoying season. Like, it should have been better than it was. And I hated the Jack Black episode. Just putting that out there. No, I didn't hate the Jack Black episode because there's a whole good bit about droids being second-class citizens, which was really, really good. But I hated the whole Jack Black society thing. Like, the guest star of that. Jack Black wasn't the guest star of it. You know who I'm talking about. What's her name? And just took me out of it. Okay, Ahsoka. Again, it was good. It was fine. The problem with this show, the problem with Ahsoka, is that it's not a standalone show. It's not a standalone show at all. It's a follow-up. It's Rebels Season 5. That's what Ahsoka is. So you need to have essentially watched the 4 seasons of Rebels, get to the point where you understand what Ahsoka is. And I wish they'd sort of said it was just Rebels Season 5 live action. Like, the casting was great. I thought all the characters were cast quite well, and I thought the show was fine. And like, for example, I thought the bringing Anakin back as well, more like, so it's like, obviously we saw Hayden Christensen come back in Obi-Wan, which was great, but seeing him here was even better. Seeing the actual Clone Wars live action and Ahsoka live action was really cool. I think it made it more hard-hitting that she was a child when she was going through the Clone Wars. That was like pretty brutal. But yeah, it's one of these ones where, again, I think it's kind of mid. I think it's okay, but it's kind of mid. And it falls down where you, if you haven't watched Rebels season 5, seasons 1 through 4. Okay, Acolyte. So this is an interesting one, right? Because it got cancelled. It's been cancelled. So season 1 has they played out the season. We got to the end of it. Darth Plagueis is there. Osha and May have swapped places. And so there's all this stuff that's been set up with the Acolyte that you go, oh my God, okay, maybe season 2 will be where it's at. And then they went, no, we're canceling it. And again, it feels like it was a sort of a backlash. It was a response to fan backlash on it. And there was a huge amount of backlash on it. And I don't understand a lot of the criticism that comes with the Acolyte. This is something I'm going to have to properly research for the video, like look into some of the actual proper criticisms. Some of them were writing issues, which I actually do agree with. Like, what was the name of the Jedi who sort of went into deep hibernation and then killed himself because he was so guilty about what had happened? I was like, I don't think you should feel that guilty. Like, his death and his character arc felt unjustified and underwritten. It didn't feel great. There were some bits that I go like, this is like really, really good. Like, I think there were some bits that were really, really good. What's her name again? The Padawan. She was amazing. I thought she was so good, and I'm so annoyed that they went all sort of Games of Thrones on a lot of the characters. John Leckie, was it? I can't remember. I thought our the main Jedi Masters, the main Jedi was Saul, Jedi Master Saul. I thought he was great. Like, I thought he was really good, and I really liked that because obviously Star Wars itself is like, George Lucas took a lot of influence from Kurosawa, like Seven Samurai and stuff like that, in terms of the Jedi. And I love that they sort of leaned into that in the Acolyte, and the battles, the lightsaber battles, actually felt dangerous, which is great. Because I think one of my criticisms of lightsaber duels in Star Wars is they never feel dangerous, because if you watch it the way they're choreographed, they're aiming for the lightsabers, they're not aiming for the person, which is not what would happen in a real sword fight. And it's the same problem that happens in a lot of like movies and TV shows where they have like sword fights, is that they're choreographed in the way that you're aiming for the swords, or you're aiming for the weapon, you're not aiming for the person. But the Acolytes battles didn't feel that way. They felt like they were actually brutal. We saw a Jedi Wookiee. That was amazing. So here's my thing. My rating on this is going to be conditional on a couple of things. It could change. If it gets renewed for a second season, because there is now a sort of growing swell for like a second season, it would actually be a B tier show for me, because I'd go like, that first season sets up a bunch of interesting things and is quite cool. Like, I think there was some really good ideas in it. If they still leave it, it's going to be C tier for me, because it's left too many chords hanging, too many questions, and it looks like a lot of it's poor writing without the chance to sort of draw on the threads to actually make them work, if that makes sense. So if it gets its second season, which I hope it does, it actually bumps up to a B tier. But right now, I've got to put it at C tier just because of the current state it's in. So I hope that makes sense. The last show is Skeleton Crew, aka The Goonies in Space. I love this show. I loved it from the get-go, and it just got better and better as it went on. And this is like the Mandalorian season 1 for me, and I hope they don't go down the route of the Mandalorian of the multiple series and the drop in quality. But the thing is like, what's great about this show is that it's a standalone story within the Star Wars universe, which is what the Mandalorian was so good at initially, and what Star Wars should be doing in these TV shows. It should be standalone stories. They don't have to link in every legacy character or legacy story into this. Fine, talk about the Jedi. The Jedi are, of course, this big mystical religion that exists within the universe, and the Force is there. That's great, that's fine. Talk about the Republic, talk about the Empire. These things are fine, but not everything has to be linked back to Luke Skywalker. Not everything has to be linked back to Han Solo, Darth Vader, or whatever. Let stories happen within the Star Wars universe that are self-contained. That's just good television, really. Star Trek did this really well. Like Star Trek in the 90s, Star Trek had Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager all running, and there was an overlap between them, and they were all based within the same time frame in universe, but not everything was tied together. Like ultimately what happened was they just told their stories, and occasionally someone would cross over from another of the shows. So you'd have Thomas Riker turning up in Deep Space Nine, or Julian Bashir would go into the Next Generation for an episode. Reg Barclay would appear in Voyager for an episode. It was great because there was some crossovers without it being sort of like, well, now you have to have watched all of this to understand why this person is now in this story, and this is how it's going to be moving forward. So that's where Star Trek was great at this sort of crossover stuff, because it was like, hey, let's guess this character into here. And so the problem that of a lot of these shows, Star Wars shows, is now they're like, well, if you want to watch Ahsoka, you need to watch 4 seasons of Rebels first of all. Obi-Wan is, I suppose Obi-Wan does work as a standalone story. Mandalorian is a bit of a mess of it all again as well. So like Mandalorian season 3, you have to have watched Boba Fett, and you have to have watched the Clone Wars to understand the Battle of Mandalore as well. So it's like this interesting situation where it's like Star Wars are really screwing up because they're locking themselves into that interlocking MCU style universe, which again, that's failing as well. Like it's not doing as great as it was. Like failing is a harsh word, but it's not doing as well as it was. So I hope that Skeleton Crew, basically, because it's such a lovely little standalone story that exists within the Star Wars universe, I hope it stays that way if they do another series, that it just little standalone story held within Star Wars. The thing is, it ended so well, they don't need to do anything more with it. They could just leave it as it is. But for me, I'm actually going to stick this in the S tier as well. I think it's one of the best series of the year. So that is going to be the ranking that I'm going to use for the video. I'm going to save this actually now. Save this. So we're saving that. That is going to be the tiers that I'm going to use for the shows. I'm going to listen back to this later on, probably tomorrow morning, and I'm going to work on the script to get this out hopefully later this week. So there should be another video for you to enjoy. I'm going to note down Jack's idea for a series of rewatching Voyager, because good show. It's a good show. I've got thoughts. I've got opinions. They need to be heard. Oh, one other cool thing. If you're a Star Trek fan, I'm sure you've probably heard of the podcast of the YouTube channel Trek Culture. I'm sure you've probably, yeah, they do a lot of Star Trek content. They're very cool. They're very prolific, and they get interviews with all of the people. Their last podcast had Will Wheaton, and it's incredible. I'm going to be on their podcast. I'm guesting on their podcast in a couple of weeks. So I'll let you know when that goes live, and you'll be able to hear my dulcet tones talking about Star Trek with people that I have admired their work for forever, for a long time on YouTube. So yeah, there you go, folks. There you have it. First stream in months. Twitch is dead. Long live YouTube. I'll try and work out what's going on with Twitch so we can get back on there again. Not gonna lie, kind of missed the redeems and the channel points. Anyone else miss this tonight? Anyone else miss this one here? Oh, wow, that didn't work well. But the point is, we need to get all that stuff working again. So yeah, I'll try and get them all working, and then we'll try and get Twitch work up and running again. But thank you so much for watching, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this stream. It's just been a stream of consciousness. It's just been me talking, isn't it, for ages. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Enjoy the rest of your evening, folks, and I will keep an eye out for, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so. If you want to like this video as well, that will help. Yeah, if you didn't like it, I mean, just move on. Just move on. No, I'm joking. If you like this video, this live stream, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already. The next video will be out hopefully on Thursday, if not Friday. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, see you next time. Thanks for watching.